Welcome everyone to today's webinar. This is Bring Back the Joy, Fundraise Like a Fifth Grader. My name is David Gates, and I'm the Director of Online Education here at Grant Station. Now, today's webinar will help you break free from the rut of solicitation fatigue. If you are looking for sustained revenue and do not have a Grant Station membership, right now is a great time to check us out. We are in the midst of our summer sale where you can get a 1-year membership for $199 or a 2-year membership for $299, which is less than 41 cents per day. And I'll drop a link for that in the chat here in a moment. Now, your presenter today is Patrick Kirby. Patrick is what happens when you mix equal parts fundraising expertise, caffeinated enthusiasm, and an unshakable belief that nonprofits deserve better than burnout and budget caps. As the founder of Do Good Better Consulting, Patrick has made it his life's mission to help nonprofits fundraise smarter, build stronger donor relationships, and actually enjoy asking for money. And today he's going to provide you with some kid-inspired habits which can form the backbone of a no-cost, high-return fundraising approach that works. So please welcome Patrick Kirby.
Well, hi friends. Thanks so much for joining us today. I've been drinking caffeine since 4 in the morning, so I am ready to rock and roll. I'm excited. I hope you are too. I would love to kind of start with a really quick sort of piece here. We're going to do sort of 25, 30 minutes of just kind of talking through some traits that I think we have forgotten as adults that are going to make us better fundraisers. We're going to do that first. And then I'm going to open it up to questions because I know that everybody here has a seemingly unsolvable fundraising board question, whatever we want to do. I'm going to help as many as possible. So no question is off limits. We're going to get to as many as possible. If I don't get to all of the questions, I will follow up with an email. You click reply, and then we'll just negotiate it over email. I'll just answer your emails, questions, and then we'll just go from there. It's going to be fun. So my name is Patrick Kirby. I'm the founder of Do Good Better. I'm in Fargo, North Dakota. And about a year ago, my kids were tasked with fundraising for their school. They did every year. It was usually a pizza or a butter braid sale that we had to go do. And that's usually exchanging $20 bills between our neighbors. And then it just makes my pants that I need to buy bigger because it's gross. But this year, they had a walkathon. And they were just going to do peer-to-peer fundraising. They said, we're going to send you home with an envelope with a Wildcat logo sticker on it. And you're going to go door to door and you're going to call grandma and grandpa and get your parents to give you money. And then we're going to do a walkathon instead. And I was like, yes, please. So my kids get home. My youngest daughter, Willow, gets so excited because she's like, oh man, I'm going to fundraise for my friends, and they're going to be able to have markers, and they're going to go on the field trips. It's going to be super awesome. And she ninja kicks her way out the door and just starts chucking her way down the street. And she's door knocking on everybody's door with zero fear. She's got a little talking point of like where the money's going to go raised. And she just goes door to door to door to door to door. 20 minutes later, she's raised $200. And I was like, it made my heart proud as a fundraiser, right? But she raises $200 in like 20 minutes. And I go, if she can do this, we as adults can do this, right? We have been probably told by somebody in our adult life that we were too much, too loud, too enthusiastic, too creative, too brave, whatever the case may be. And I sat there and I thought about like, what are the traits that my kids have that I can share with everybody about like being a better fundraiser, being a better storyteller, etc. So that's what we're going to talk about today. The 10 traits that I have seen out of my kids that are going to make us a better fundraiser. And by the way, can all be done in a pretty fancy book, How to Fundraise Like a Fifth Grader. Anyway, I am really kind of excited to talk to you about this. This is like a passion project of mine. I think that you are great fundraisers, but you're doing 10,000 different things. And I think you just need to make fundraising a little bit more fun and simple. I got 10 traits for you today. Now, I don't have a slideshow because I find those boring. It's just going to be you and me talking. Like if you grabbed a coffee or grabbed a beer, I don't care. I'm not judgmental. You sit back and you just kind of think about how you can take each one of these traits and then use them in your fundraising world. Sound great? Yes. You want to be simpler and more fun and awesome? I need some sort of yes. Thumbs up works for me. I love it. Okay. So we're going to get started. Top 10 things that I think we have forgotten as kids, but need to embrace as fundraisers now. Number one, be fearless. Now, I mean fearless in the sense that it's summertime here in North Dakota, which we get for like 3.5 weeks, right? And my kids are going to the pool literally every other day, and there's a gigantic high dive now, and they just leap with zero regard for their body off of the top. And we as fundraisers don't do that as often, right? There's always some sort of fear that's holding us back from this sort of piece where we're afraid that someone's going to say no, or we're afraid we're going to ask for the wrong thing. We're afraid that we're going to get rejected or some sort of thing. This is not the way that kids are. My kids are just fearless in general. They have no regards for putting on their helmets. They'll just go run around and do whatever. And we as fundraisers at some point have been told no, and then we kind of hold back on maybe who we ask because we assume they're going to say no. We assume they don't want to chat with us. We assume a lot. Be fearless. Be as fearless as you possibly can with a fundraiser. Because again, what's the worst thing that could happen? They say no. You're not worse for the wear. But we have sort of told ourselves that being rejected and having someone not care about our organization is a bad thing. No, it's not. If we're asking somebody and they say, no, I'm not interested, that just means we have whittled down the type of person that we want to join our squad. It eliminates the amount of people that we have on our solicitation list, which makes your life easier. And we can go and kind of be this fearless fundraiser that I think we were really born to be, except something's holding us back. I would say, dare I say, you need to be fearless when it comes to fundraising. Does that make sense? Rip the Band-Aid off. Nothing's bad is going to happen when you have anything in particular go around there, right? So I'm going to start with that. Be fearless, number one. The second thing that I want you to embrace as a fundraiser is be passionate. At no point in time does a donor want you to come up to them and go, so I'm raising money for dogs, and dogs are great, and I think that things are going to be really good with dogs. Want to give me some money? Nobody wants to give to that person. Not one person. Have you ever heard a kid talk about Pokemon? If you have a kid who has talked about Pokemon, it's all they care about. They're obsessed with it, or they're or whatever thing is, right? So like, and then, so this Pokemon turns into this Pokemon, and then this one has this thing, and then if I go and get this one, and I could, they're obsessed. They're obsessed, and it's all they think about. I dare say that we don't use our passion as much as we have it, because at some point it says we got to be more professional. We have to ramp it down and be more methodical when we're talking to our donors. Hell no. If a donor is going to give you money, they don't want to give to a feckless, emotionless, passionless human being. They are not, you don't give because it's like, oh, I guess I should. No, you're trying to appeal to somebody's emotion and appeal to someone else's passion. And if you don't have the passion to match the amount of money that you want to ask for, or the big audacious goals that you have already set up, for shame, get out of this industry. And it's okay to be passionate. It's okay to get emotional. It's okay to share that, like, our organization kicks ass and I'm going to tell you why. It's okay to say that out loud. At some point, somebody maybe is sort of, hey, why don't you dial it back a little bit? Why don't you be a little bit more professional? No, donors now more than ever want passion. Because if you've got a world of AI and robots doing and commanding a lot of things, they want to feel some human motion inside of all of this. That's why they give. That's why people give. So I dare say, like a fifth grader, I want you to be passionate. Make sense? Are you going to be a little bit more passionate? Are you going to go and find your mission and you're going to go explain? Come on. I want to see this. I want to see this go. And in fact, if you're in there, like, what are you going to be passionate about? What are you going to talk about all these kind of things? I want to give you permission to just go. Okay? So that's number 2. So be fearless, be passionate. Number 3, be friendly. I'm going to give you an example. So if you ever watched a kid on a playground, so if you take your kid to a playground, you're biking up to the park and whatever, and I remember this like it's was yesterday, because it probably was yesterday, right? I go to a park. I am riding my bike. I'm sitting down. I'm checking my phone once. And my kid comes over. He goes, "Hey, Dad, I want to ask you a question. Can me and my best friend go to another park?" And I was like, "Who is your best friend?" She's like, "That girl over there." I go, "That's your best friend?" Like, "Who is she?" He's like, "I don't know. But like, we're best friends, and all we want to do is hang out together for the rest of the day." I This child doesn't know this other child, but they have made some sort of connection, and children are naturally friendly with other children. They find some sort of weird thing like, "You like monkey bars? I like the monkey bars. Let's be best friends forever." We as fundraisers need to be that friendly to potential individuals who want to share in the passion and in the moment and in the thing that we're trying to accomplish. At no point in time can you have a cold shoulder. And it's a lot of work. I mean, it takes a lot of work to be friendly. Like, you're waking up on a Monday, you don't want to be here. You've got a laundry list that's a mile long. You probably have some board member who's breathing down your throat, or a boss who's just like, "Here's my money," blah, blah, blah. You're not as friendly as you should, right? Yeah, you should. This is part of our job. Our job is to be friendly. Our job is to be approachable. Our job is to attract others who are like-minded like us. I want enthusiastic, passionate, friendly human beings to join our group because I know they're going to know other people like that too. Right? The people who are always like, "Oh, everything sucks," have friends that always say, "Oh, everything sucks." The friendly people have friendly people. And those people are going to open up doors for you. Those people are going to be cheerleaders for you. Those people are going to be it. Be friendly. And it's just an approach that you go into a door to go, and I'm going to make a new friend today. I don't know if they're going to be a major donor. I don't know if they're going to be a passionate human being for our thing, but I'm going to make a friend today. And they're going to remember you for being friendly, and they're going to pass that on. And someone down the line to go, "Hey, have you ever met Patrick? That dude, super friendly." And that's the attitude you want to bring to your fundraising party. Okay? Does this make sense? I know you don't want to do it all the time, neither do I, for God's sakes, but does this make sense? Be friendly in your fundraising. Embrace your inner fifth grader. Be friendly. Okay? Love it. All right. So be fearless, be passionate, be friendly. The fourth thing that I want you to think about is be optimistic. This is hard, especially when you turn on the news and you're in your social feed and everyone is complaining about something and there's just another thing going on in the world. Optimism is going to be your secret weapon when it comes to aligning the right person with your mission. I promise you that you are going to get into a mode where, "I don't know if we can do this." That's not being optimistic, it's being a realist. But what you need to do is, like, I believe in our mission, I believe in our donors, and what I'd like to tell you a little bit about is this, and this. My middle child, who's the smallest human that I have ever met as going into sixth grade. He's like 48 pounds. He's very short. Plays tackle football. He has an absurd amount of optimism, like more than he actually should as a human being. So we're going out for football practice. First day. He's smaller than everybody else. He's in his pads. He's adorable looking, but he's just in his pads. I'm like, I'm nervous this kid's going to get run over by that truck of a kid who's been corn fed for the last, 10 years. And he comes back from practice. He's not great. He loves it, not great. Comes back from practice, goes, "Dad, I don't know what to say about this, but like, I think I'm like the second best player on this team." That's a surprise to me, kiddo. I love that you think that, and it's amazing. But he's going to go really far in life, just knowing that he believes in himself so much. Donors want to believe in your mission. They do not want to give to a dour, dire place that doesn't know if they're going to reach their goals. No donor is really turned on by like, "Hey, I'd like some money and I don't know what the hell we're going to do with it. And I don't even know if this is going to work or not, but want to give?" How much confidence does that breed with a donor who's got the potential to help your organization? Not a lot. Not a lot at all. And I'm not talking toxic positivity. I'm not talking about like making stuff up. But what I am saying is that there should be an ability for you to project this sense of, if we don't get this done, really a lot of bad stuff happens for our community. And I believe that through our donors and through our supporters and through our cheerleaders, we're going to get there. And we're going to get there because of you. Thank you for your support. I believe in this mission the way that you do. I think we're going to get there. How else can you help? How many, whatever. That's the type of optimism I'm showing, right? Times are tough. Times are challenging. We all know that. But if you don't have a sense of optimism, no donor is going to follow you down that road as well. Make sense? Be optimistic. Does it make sense? Are you going to be a little bit more optimistic? I love this, right? So be fearless, be passionate, be friendly, be optimistic. Fifth one I want you to do, be a team player. And what I mean by this is that every kid that I've ever known wants to be on a team. They want to be a part of the football team, the baseball team, or whatever they want to do. They make up rules in the backyard going, this is a game we want to play, and everybody has to get involved. And they're like fighting over rules they just made up 2 seconds ago. Everyone comes back to the table. They try to figure out what they want to do because they're just making up games. I think in a really challenging fundraising scenario, we're going to have to partner with people that we didn't expect to, and that we may share mission or mission aligned pieces. And I don't think we can go it alone. You can't go it alone without your donors. You can't go it alone without your community. You can't go alone without your cheerleaders, your board, or whatever. You cannot be a lone wolf in the fundraising sector anymore. I just don't think it works. You need to collaborate, and you need to be to ask people for their perspective. And here's how I would even frame out people that you don't know but would like to be influential within your organization, right? And I talk about this in a how to make an ask webinar every once in a while. And how do you approach a donor? How do you approach somebody who may not know about your organization? I'm going to give you the script right now. And again, it's part of this team player mentality. If somebody doesn't know, and I'm just going to say Courtney, for example, just popped in the chat. I'm going to say to Courtney, for example, Courtney, I'm a part of this particular organization in our community, and I know you and I don't know each other very much, but I know that you're a successful business person, and actually that's what I want to talk to you about. We have this organization, we have this mission. I would love your perspective on how we sound, how we feel, how the mission acts. I have this idea about a fundraiser, and I'd love your perspective and your ideas rather than your checkbook. You want to get in the door with somebody? Ask that. Right? Talk about how you would like their thoughts, their big sexy brain put on something, right? I'm trying to build a coalition. I'm trying to figure this out as a community. Going it alone is so not the way to do it. And as I think we embrace our childlike features to say they want to be a part of the team. Donors want to be a part of a winning team, for example, right? They don't want to be a part of the loser team. I'm a Minnesota Vikings football fan. I am the worst fan of all time. I believe I'm so optimistic they're going to win games and win a Super Bowl. We're never going to win a Super Bowl. I understand that. I'm a horrible optimist when it comes to that thing. But I want to be a part of the team because I feel like it adds value to my life. I know how to deal with loss and disappointment and the expectations that are ruined all the time, better than everybody else. Everybody else. So yeah, it's horrible. But being a part of the team and cheering for something as a thing is what you want to embrace. And I think that we have to lean into our kids' best feature, which is being a team player. You're going to have to collaborate. You're going to have to find somebody who's mission adjacent to you and figure out trying to make your community better. Do not go this alone. Embrace your inner kid. Be a team player. We're halfway through our list. How are we feeling? Are we feeling good? Does this vibe well? Are you getting a good sense of I kind of get my brain to be rewired? And again, I'm trying to just get you to think a little bit more in a creative sort of way, because again, we've got so much downers going on. And I need you to kind of be refreshed a little bit. So I'm going to give you these top 10. So we're through the 5. Be fearless, be friendly, be passionate, be optimistic, be a team player. Number 6, be creative. If now isn't the time to be creative with an event or an appeal or a concept or a goal, when is it? Right? This is the time. We have to think outside of the box. My God in heaven. I'm going to give you an example of a thinking outside of the box thing that I just heard about today that you can, if you are a musical or whatever things, I'm going to steal away because I'm stealing it for this webinar. A friend of mine, Ellen, who's a director of the Minot Symphony. Yeah, there's a symphony in Minot, North Dakota. I bet you didn't know that. Now you do. She's putting on in a couple of weeks a Beethoven 5K. It's a 5K, and you have to, your goal is to finish the 5K, right? Finish the 5K before Beethoven's Fifth is finished. How freaking brilliant is that? They're going to do a 5K, and over the loudspeakers in the area in which they're running, they're going to play Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. And you have to finish ahead of the Beethoven's Fifth. I've never heard of that. Yeah, they do it in Schenectady? Okay, great. I love this. But how creative and unique is that? It's like 31 minutes, so you got some time, but you got to hustle your rear end, right? But thinking like that is part of the creative process. I always like Billy Madison's one of my favorite movies in the entire world. And there's a scene where he's in kindergarten or preschool. I think it's in kindergarten where he draws a blue duck. And he goes, I drew a blue duck because I've never seen a blue duck. And that's quacktastic. And I find that to be hilarious even today. So what's your blue duck? What's your Beethoven 5K? I put together a fundraiser in Bismarck, North Dakota. Fly over Bismarck, North Dakota. And I was trying to expand our events thing for an organization I used to work at. And there was a beach in the middle of Bismarck, and it was like a reservoir. And I go, what if we do a beach gala? But what if we put white linen tablecloths on it, and we get everybody to dress up from their head to their waist in tails and tops and tails, and we do shorts and sandals. We called it suits and sandals. And it was a black tie top. It was a casual below. People were wearing Bermuda trunks with their tuxedo tops. It was hilarious. And it worked because it was so unusual and creative. And I feel as if we've got this list that's in the back of our head that no one's really given us permission to do. I'm giving you permission right now. Be creative. People are doing the same thing. You know this. You go to your board meeting, and all of a sudden somebody's going to pop in and go, I went to a gala, and it's black tie, and it did all this thing. And they're like, we should do the same thing. That doesn't work for us. We're a different organization. We don't have this built in. But someone's going to say we should do the same thing that they did. No, you shouldn't. People are looking for different. They're looking for outside of the box. This is the time to do it. And again, what's the worst thing you're going to happen? You're not going to lose $1 million on an event that you come up with that doesn't cost a lot, but you might grab the attention of someone who's curious about your organization. And the only way they would have found out about it is if they would have come to your creative event, or they read your creative blog, or they listen to your creative way on how you're trying to present your solution to whatever thing that you're doing in your community. Be creative. I'm giving you permission to it. How does that sound? Does this make sense to you? Are you going to embrace your little inner creativity kid, right? Be creative, be creative, be creative. In fact, jot down what the funniest thing or your creative or stupidest thing that you have in your brain. Drop it down in the webinar chat. I want to hear about it because I think that's kind of fun too. Be fearless, be passionate, be friendly, be optimistic, be a team player, be creative, be curious. This is the 7th thing that I want you to remember today. Be curious. And I think this is actually one of the most important pieces to this entire talk. We are not asking good questions of our potential donors. And the reason that we don't is because we're trying to accomplish something. I need money from this person. I need a lead from this person. I'm not trying to learn about this person. And I think that you need to lean in with your curiosity. As a fundraiser, this is your number one objective. I was taught by a mentor once that you never ask for a major gift unless you know the name of your donor's dog. I just want that to sink in for just a little bit. It means you are more curious about that person than you are on the size of their checkbook or their ability to pay for a gala ticket. And if we don't know our donors as well as Amazon and Netflix knows them, we are not doing our job as fundraisers. And we have to ask the question. And I'm going to give you an example for this, right? So if I am not curious and I ask Doreen, how was your trip? And Doreen says, good. The hell did we just learn about Doreen? Not a thing. But if I position this to say, hey, Doreen, what was your top favorite 3 things that you did on your trip? And she says, well, boy, we shouldn't do this at all. But hey, every year we go down to Orlando. We bring the kids and the grandkids all together. We get one giant house. We go to Disney World one day. We go to, Universal one day. It's chaos for like 6 straight nights. All I want to do is go to bed, and I don't want to have any sound in my system. It's just a lot. But we do it every year. I love them. I'm just glad I get back a little bit of time and I don't have to deal with kids anymore. What did we learn from that? What did we learn from that? What did we learn from that answer on a curiosity question that doesn't just ask a bland question? We learned they're really into family. They're into tradition. They have more money than God. Have you ever been down to Disney World right now? It's insane, right? So we know all of these things. So if we're doing a gala, if we're doing an event, we've got a ticket down to Orlando, we've got a ticket or for a house down in Orlando. That might be a good thing to know if we wanted to invite them to the event itself. But we wouldn't have known that if we weren't curious about the actual question itself. Where do they go? What do they do? What are their loves? What are their dislikes? What are some of the things that you would want to know about a person in order to align them with a program that you have? If we don't start asking better questions, done. We're not going to be in the moment. I don't care what you say. Be curious. Know your donors better than you do already, and you are going to be able to set the table for big asks every single time. That makes sense? I want it. I'm on it. What is this? Does this make sense? Does this, you feel good about this too? We're going to be creative, but we're going to be curious. Yeah. I like this. Okay. Because again, we're going through our kids' traits, for God's sakes. They're better than us at most things anyway. And we don't want to have something that happened to us as adults reflect on how we act as fundraisers. I don't believe that's going to be a thing. The next one, be bold. My kids will continue to ask for the same thing, even though I've told them no 100 times. They have no quit in them. And they ask for the dumbest and biggest things. Hey, Dad, can I get a Switch too? No. Why would you ask me that? Well, it's going to be sweet. Okay. But they just ask for the largest things. When we're as a fundraiser, if we ask for 10 grand, we're going to get 10 grand. If we ask for $100,000, we might get $100,000. But if our goal is 100, we're only asking for 10, we have to find 9 other people to give us $10,000. That's a crap load of asks that we got to make. And we are assuming on behalf of us, we feel really bad about this and we don't know if this is going to work or not. Be bold. Donors want to be bold. Donors want to accomplish big things. And I think we need to figure out how to dream bigger, our big, hairy, audacious goals. What is the thing that we're trying to strive for? Your board doesn't know how to fundraise because they don't know what to fundraise for in the first place. You haven't set the bar high enough. And I think when we are talking about fundraising, it's really important to go and use this gigantic thing that we want to get as our true north. If you've got $1 million event, here's how you make an ask, right? I'm going to give you the formula as well. You don't have to ask for a specific amount, but you have to say what the goal is because you don't want them to assume you want $10. Because if you ask for $10, they're going to give you $10. Like, I did my job. Hey, pat on the back. I'm awesome, right? Here's how you set the table. It's like, hey, we have a program that we think is going to revolutionize the way that we get food distributed to people who have who have food scarcity in our community. We think that we can accomplish an elimination of food scarcity in our neighborhood, but we're going to need to raise $1 million to do it. Here's how we're going to do. Would you consider a gift to help us reach our $1 million goal? It's not asking for a specific amount, but it's being bold enough to say that big thing outdoors or a big thing out loud so that we have the ability to take all of this sort of thing and set the table for it. And they know that $10 isn't going to help them. It's going to help them if they give you $100,000. That's the big bold move, the big bold ask. Have the big event, have the big ask, make the big moves, ask for the big sponsorship. Because if you start high, they're going to come back a little bit lower. You're still better off than you were starting low and trying to get them high. Right? It's way harder to do that than it is to start at the top and work your way down. Be bold in your asks. Be bold in your creativity on what you're trying to accomplish in the first place. Donors want to help you big goal wise. Make sense? Don't ask small. Don't play small. Yes, shoot for the moon. Shoot for the stars. Hit the moon. That's exactly what it is. Be bold. How many of you are going to be bold? Yes, go. All right. We're coming up on the end, right? So number 9, be resilient. This is a hard one in a time where everything needs to be resilient. But here's the piece. Act like a kid who's trying to ride a bike. They're frustrated because they're not riding a bike. All their friends have figured out how to ride a bike. They fall down. What do? They get up because they're just, well, first of all, they might be just obnoxious and they don't take no for an answer, number 1, right? But here's the thing. Like, you can learn a lot from a kid to not take no. Now, they will be resilient in the fact that they will try to beat me at Mario Kart, which I will never let them do. I am putting my line in the sand of saying I will always play Mario Kart better than them, and I will practice behind the scenes, and I will not tell them that I do every night because I will not lose to them in Mario Kart. But that's just the thing that for me, right? But they're resilient. They keep playing. They keep thinking they're going to beat dad, and they don't know that he plays secretly. Yeah, first place. If you're not first, you're last. Frankly, if we're talking about Mario Kart, for sure. So I think we should take the advice, however, right? This is the thing, right? We need to be a little bit more resilient in our things. We are going to get told no. Our grants are going to dry up. We might have a sponsor decline. You cannot give up. You know why? It's because there's too many people relying on you from the products and the services that you are giving your community. And imagine this. If you don't, if your organization fails to ceases to exist, if your board shows up tomorrow and says, "We are closing down," what does that do to your community? Does it make it better? No. It makes it way worse. You're doing amazing things. In fact, you're doing the things the government can't and won't do. They can't get their crap together. You can. You're the gap-filling organizations that make your community amazing. You have to be you have to be resilient. You have to. It's a hard work. This is not easy. Anybody who's telling you fundraising is easy, probably selling you something, right? It's not. But you're required to be resilient, and you've got it in you. I know it, because there's no way that you would keep in this job if you weren't. It's harder and harder, I know. Take your self-care time, take your breaks, take your vacations, because you're going to need it, but you can't fail because there's too many people relying on you. And lean on your being a team player and being passionate and using your crew right here to just show up and get and find a fundraising partner in crime where you can sort of digest things together. Do it. Be resilient, just like our kids. Makes sense so far? We're in home stretch. We got literally one left. Okay, we got one left, and we're going to take some Q&As. Be resilient. So be fearless, be passionate, be friendly, be optimistic, be a team player, be creative, be curious, be bold, be resilient. I'm going to end with this. Be honest. I think transparency in the nonprofit world is going to be more important than ever. And it's a transparency when we need help. It's transparency when we're doing great. It's transparency on how well we're doing, how poorly we're doing. It's going to take a real big kind of kick in the face a little bit to be a little bit more honest. I think donors are going to be very curious about where your money goes, what they do, how it goes. And they're going to look to the organizations that are honest brokers, that are transparent in their things. If you have a problem, if you have a need, right? It's not Chicken Little to say, we have a real big need and we need to bridge this gap in the funding to get us from point A to point B. We're going to need your help more than ever. I swear we have got a game plan. Here's what it is. But in order to bridge our funding gap, we're going to need to get here to here. This is what happened. Here's what we're doing about it. And we need your help. Is this something that you could help us accomplish? Don't shy away from all of the potential, like, oh, I wonder what they're going to think about us. They're going to think a lot differently of you if you don't talk about it, if you make it up. And I'll give you an example. There's an organization here in our region who it's a half homeless shelter, half food bank. They covered up a great deal of financial troubles, and they finally came clean. And they said, we have been trying to figure this out on the back end without getting the public involved, and we need it. Okay, we need this help. And the community stepped up. They always do. They always do when you present an honest answer to what you're trying to accomplish. Now, you can't be like, every month it sucks, so we're going to have to like be help. You need to help thing. Jeez Louise. No, you can't do that. You can't Chicken Little your way out of this. But if you've got a problem, I think you need to say it out loud. If there is a way that you can be transparent with where your money's going to go. A donor's going to ask, what does my $1,000 do for this organization? What does it do? Be honest. This goes this is what this, and this goes here. They're going to want to have a impact report. And if you can show it to them, good. Because I think donors going forward are going to be a lot more careful on where they put dollars and what they're funding. More heavy donors, big donors, are giving to fewer and fewer organizations. And if you're not trustworthy, they're not going to give you any money. Okay. So you need to be trustworthy. You need to be transparent. You need to be honest. You need to be a lot of these things that kids have. Be honest. Does that make sense for you? Does that make sense? And are you willing to go that next step to be transparent and optimistic? Right? Yes. Okay. So we went through the 10. I just want to go through them really quickly again, right? Be fearless. Don't fear that no. Everyone gets a no. Be passionate. I swear, if you aren't passionate about your mission, no one else is going to be as well. Be friendly. It's okay to make friends. By the way, friends are going to introduce you to other friends. It's going to open doors for you if you're just a little bit more friendly. Be optimistic, not toxically positive, but be optimistic that you can solve this case and you can do it with your donor's help. Be a team player. You cannot go alone. I swear to you. Find like-minded adjacent missions. Partner up to try to solve something together. It's going to be an easier road for you and your organization. Be creative. Do the stupid thing. Write the actual funny email that you think is going to be fine. I would do it. Be curious. Ask better questions of your donors, and you're going to learn a lot more about them. And I swear you're going to build a better relationship with them. Be bold. Do the big, hairy, audacious goal. Shoot for the moon. Honest to God, that's what people want to do. They want to solve these gigantic problems. If you're the one that they're going to lead, they're going to follow you with their pocketbook. I promise you. Be resilient. Listen, we're going to get thrown a number of different monkey wrenches, but there's a lot of people who you serve that rely on you. And I think that you're going to be the one to step up for it. And finally, be honest. It's time for transparency across the board. You and your organization know it. If you have trouble, say it out loud. If you have celebrations, do that there. I think it's going to be something that I think people are going to be ecstatic about. My kids are my inspiration on a fairly regular basis because no adult has told them any of these things that they shouldn't do professionally. And I think if we can sort of indulge our little adult senses into the kid-like traits that we just sort of talked through today, I think you're going to be a better fundraiser. I swear you're going to have way more fun. And it's a different approach. It doesn't have to be all dour and dire. Honestly, I think you're going to have a better time doing it. Does this make sense to you? How are we feeling about it? Do we feel good? Do we feel a little bit or more energized? Do we feel like we can go and kick in doors and take on the world? Yes. 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 Okay, I love it. That's all I have. Honestly, I wrote a book about it. I'll send you an email with the link to it. It's Fundraise Like a Fifth Grader. I think it's super cool. This kind of goes to the whole thing. I'm going to drop here at the end of this a link to a free workbook that I just have. It's like a whole workbook that goes through each one of these things that I think you can take back to your team or your board. I'm going to give it to you. Download it. It's free. I'm not selling anything for that whole thing. I will send you a link after this as well, and I'll drop it in the chat. But I want to get to your questions because I know you have seemingly unsolvable fundraising issues. I want to go. So let's go to the Q&A. How about that? You guys are awesome, by the way. I love your energy. Your feedback feeds me. I'm a high eye on the DISC score, so I need constant validation that I'm doing okay. Don't worry, I'm working through that with my therapist. Okay, so here's the thing. We got some questions. Claire asks, are you a former theater kid? Yeah, how did you know? Weird. I can't imagine that is a thing. Yeah, I know. Well, that's the thing about having the theater kid background. I feel like it's an underrated thing. If you have a theater kid background, I think it's going to be a great deal. My favorite Pokemon, I'm torn here, and I can't say that. I will send you a note, Claire. Send me a note, and I will send you that as a bit. I like because I have it's there's different answers. Okay, Teresa asks, how do we get non-fundraising team members to embrace some of the ideas in other parts of our organization? Sometimes leaderships get stuck in doing the things the same way. Oh, that's the worst. Okay, so how do you get the embrace fundraising? Okay, here's how I would frame out fundraising for your board members or your other team members. You don't have to fundraise for $1 million. But I need you to open doors to people who would be interested in what we do. I'll take it on ourselves, right? So I care more about their field activity and opening more doors than I do to fundraise. And it's almost giving them a way out. They don't have to fundraise, but they have to open doors. Okay. So if you have somebody who might really love our mission, I want you to introduce me to them. If you have somebody who would really be passionate about our what we're doing here, I'd love you to invite them to an event so they can feel how our vibe is. Okay. I think that is a better route than just telling them that they have to fundraise. And it's an outside of the box way of thinking rather than telling them that they have to do this, this, and this. Does that make sense? And everybody, this is kind of up for everybody too. Does that make sense in your sort of brain? Get them to bring people to the table rather than just fundraise there too. Okay. I love that. Ashley asks, what are your suggestions for bringing creativity to areas of fundraising that are a bit more structured and bound by rules, like the grant space? Very good question. Well, it depends what you're trying to fundraise for, but I think funders are looking for creative solutions to things that have not been solved yet. And I think in the grant writing space or in your narrative is laying out what hasn't worked. Actually, I would say that, hey, for years we've been trying to solve the homelessness issue here. And we have done this, this, and this. Our organization has come up with something unique and different, and we have not blah, blah, blah. This is what we're going to do. This is our creative way of doing it, and it's just crazy enough to work. And I think people are looking for a new ways on how they're going to approach it, and I think that's a way that you can structure a little bit of creativity in that, okay? So I hope that works. Does that make sense for everybody too? Like I feel like there's ways to do a lot of this this work creatively, but it just takes a little bit of curiosity and asking some different questions and ask a bunch of partners. Like, what's a creative way that we can do this? Bounce ideas off of your board and leadership team too. Okay. Anonymous asks, thoughts about how to approach optimism and creativity when your mission and focus are inherently heavy topic? Yes. So this is a very great question. Climate change and industrial pollution. I would even see trafficking. So kids trafficking is a very big issue here in North Dakota. We have an oil field out on the west end. This is a very transient, heavy population going from east to west across the thing. We've got a lot of this as a thing. I would say your optimism is not solving the global climate change issue, but it's doing your part. And I think you have to personalize the optimism, personalize the creativity, rather than say, hey, you know what, we're going to solve everything tomorrow. No, you aren't. And I think that admission and that honesty is, but we can get there together, and here's what we can do individually. You creatively can come up with ways on how to spread awareness within this particular group. I think that actually makes a lot of sense. I think there's a lot of ways that you can present it creatively, and more optimistic than typical. I think you use that as your route for heavier places. But again, I think your creativity says typically people would just be proactive or reactive. Our creativity is being proactive by going into the schools and talking about this. We believe that we think that we can take these programs and change. Here's how. I think you can get a little creative in that way, and that's it's tough. I will not, but again, we're gonna go back to our list. We're gonna be resilient. That's what we're gonna do. Paula asked, be bold. What if our donors are low income? How do you balance the big ask without scaring them? Okay. Your goal with low income donors is just activating them. Okay. May not be the big asks, but what you want to do is you want to get people to join your squad. So your big ask is in totality. So Paula, your goal is I want 100 new monthly donors of $5. Okay. That's your bold ask is numbers game. Your bold ask isn't 10 grand from somebody who can't afford 10 grand. Your goal is how do I get as many people to give as low level as possible? And that's your big ask. Okay. You're not going to scare them because they don't have the cash to do that. But they might know somebody or they might work with somebody that does have the capacity. And then your goal is to how do I get in front of those people? So the goals change, the boldness doesn't. Does that make sense, everybody? right? Does that perspective kind of make a little bit more sense? If you reframe the whole question itself, Paul, I love that. But yes, I love that. Great. Can we hire you to train us on our pitch? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, send me an email. We'll talk about it for sure. And again, your pitch should be very easy. It should just be talking about what amazing things you do, setting the table that our goal is to raise this amount of money. Would you consider helping us reach that goal? There's your pitch. Okay. And you can play around with that, I think. Okay. Another anonymous, in being honest with donors and funders, how do balance transparency with airing your org's dirty laundry and risking losing their trust? That's a great balance question. And I think you need to internally look at that, right? But I would say keep the names and the faces and the places out of it and talk about the situation as a whole. So there was an organization that really had an executive director that just did this organization dirty. They still had a mission, though, and the mission was good. The person was not, but the mission was good. And I think you can have a conversation with people to talk about how I believe that what we're trying to accomplish is a valuable and a goal that should be accomplished. Here's how we're going to do this, this, and this. And regardless of the mistakes that our leadership team has made in the past, here's what we're doing moving forward, period. I don't think you have to go into dirty laundry. Nobody wants to be part of a rumor mill, but the transparency of what you're doing next and how you got there and what you're doing to change, that's the narrative that I think I would go with. Does that make sense, everybody? Does kind of how to kind of rewire everybody's brain with that kind of thing? Okay. All right. Alyssa asks, any advice for a first-time fundraiser, how to even get started? Yeah, absolutely. Tell your story to as many people as possible and ask for their advice on how you can be a better storyteller. That's how I would honestly, storytelling is great. And people always ask me, like, what books would you recommend for storytellers? Okay, outside of this. But I would say read Lord of the Rings, read The Hobbit, read high fantasy, read stories that somebody has taken the liberty of creating worlds that don't exist but feel real. And I feel like as storytellers, we need to do a better job of like setting the table and setting the tone for all of those things. And I anything that Tolkien, anything high fantasy, anything that's not technical of like, theoretically, you need to make an ask. And 17 asks in the marketing process, get our name into boring. Boo. Nobody wants that. They want to be brought to a situation in story time that allows them to be the hero, and their gifts and their time and their talent and including their treasure allow you to help them reach that goal. That's how I would position yourself. So be a better storyteller, tell it as often as possible, and then ask away. Donna, any words of advice for an introvert who has found herself thrust into fundraising and event planning? Weird. I have never heard of somebody getting thrown into a different situation. Huh. Weird. It's like you wear 10,000 different hats and somebody asks you to randomly do the thing that you weren't supposed to do. Huh. Bizarre. I would embrace your inner introvert and actually lead with that. Okay. So Donna, Dwana, I want to say Dwana. That's right. Here's how I would embrace this. Be honest, right? So if I'm looking at a Michelle right here, right? Hey, Michelle, I am an introvert by nature, and reaching out is way outside of my comfort zone. But I know that you would want to hear something like this. Like, say it out loud out of the gate. Okay? Take it off of the plate for debatable things, right? It's okay to be an introvert. You don't have to be a spastastic, caffeinated human being like this to be a good fundraiser. Not at all. You have to be a passionate fundraiser. And some people are very passionate by their not necessarily like, oh, look at me, kind of jazz hands kind of thing. You can be a very passionate introvert. You can write passionately. You can text passionately. You can leave messages on the phone passionate. You don't necessarily have to be in clown makeup to do this. But I think, yeah, I just had to call you. Absolutely. Charles, that's such a good one. I'm an introvert, but I care so much about this thing that I want you to be involved. I would feel bad that I didn't ask you to be a part of the success of this organization. And as an introvert, I just, I don't know how to do this necessarily, but I know that you're a good fit. Lean into it. Lean into it. I love that question. Does that make sense, everybody? As for your introvert, your inner introvert, does that make sense? Lean into it. Be honest with it. It's okay. You're probably talking to somebody who's also an introvert. Like, not everybody else is like an extrovert, too. And extroverts know when to make you feel comfortable, too, if they're self aware. They'll tone everything down. They will, I promise you. Samantha asks, we're looking for a way to bring donors to Haiti without actually bringing them to Haiti. Good call. Donors are all over the USA. We're working on webinars, our partners in Haiti, but I would love other ideas. Oh, here's a great thing. Samantha, if you can have them, people on the ground, individuals you're helping or serving, community members in Haiti, send video notes. Okay, just take your phone, have a video, and just go, hey Samantha, my name is Patrick. I'm boots on the ground here in Haiti. I wanted to bring Haiti to you today. We couldn't have done the things that we're doing without your help. And I want to give you a little sneak preview about what good you're doing. Here, how about I selfie this? You're bringing it to them. People are on their phones anyway. They're scrolling through TikTok. They're scrolling through social media, right? You're a part of the thing. And I'm just coming to you live. It feels like you've got a behind the scenes sort of moment, Samantha, without having the boots on the ground actually end there too. So I think this is a great way to do it. And you personalize it. And now people associate a name and a face and an activity with somebody who's right there with them. Your gift allows us to do this work. And I can't thank you enough for it. And I want to just spend a little bit of time. And that's a good text, easy text right there. Does that make sense? And you can do this with you can do this on a job site or a work site or in a food shelf or a food bank. You can do that too. Hey, we're just packing up some groceries for a handful of people, and what's in this basket is because of your help. And I just wanted to show you that what we're doing here in the shelter or in this thing is because of you. Hope you're having a great day. Thanks so much for your gift. That's a big win for you, and it doesn't cost you anything either. It's free. Does that make sense, Samantha? I hope it does. Yes, I love that. Anonymous says, we don't have any events. How can I welcome people in? Great, go to them. In fact, you could just like go to places. And I would say there's probably a group of individuals that are your ideal donors, your ideal candidates for knowing a little bit about it. Church groups, social groups, conferences, any place where there is an availability to speak. Get in front of them. Talk about your mission, talk about how enthusiastic you are, and go. You don't have to put on events. You can just record yourself right here, email it out. Either way, I think works. I think that's a really good one too. Okay, next, that makes sense, right? Anonymous says, what do you do if you have management that frowns upon this kind of childlike enthusiasm when talking to donors and boards? I would see if they're in therapy. I think they need to address some kid issues that they have not addressed yet with the therapist, I would say, number one. And number two, I would challenge them back, honestly. And I would give them two examples. So I would say, anonymous person, here's how I would do this. Give them two scenarios. I want your opinion on what works better. Okay, and you're sitting in their office, or you're sitting in front of the board, and like, I'm gonna do whatever you think is the best. Okay, so scenario number one. Hi, my name is Patrick, and I'm here to raise money for our organization, and we do good things. Thank you for your money. All right, that's number one. Now, number two. Hi, my name is Patrick Kirby. I work for the Homeward Animal Shelter. We are trying to rescue as many animals as we possibly can, and we're giving them forever homes wherever we can possibly do it. I'd love you to join our awesome mission, and if it's in your heart, we'd love you to donate to us as well. And then you put it on them and go, which one's better? And then you stare at them awkwardly until they tell you that the second one was better. Given them the radical version of each one of those things, honestly, they're probably going to pick it. It's fine. And nobody's going to say no to that too, because it works, number one. This works. It doesn't not work. I promise you it does. Catherine, my organization holds a gala with a mission-adjacent organization. Ooh. One event, two missions. We each sell tickets and keep the proceeds, split the day of monies 50-50. I love it. Catherine, I love that. Keep doing that work. And I think, again, your rejection of our donors are going to go somewhere else because they believe in another mission. No, they aren't. They love it. You're there too. Okay. Loana asks, What's your recommendation on fund development team structure? High level, how many people on a team generally? What are their roles? How do boards tie in? Anything else? That is a massive question, probably for an entirely different webinar, but here's what I would say. You need a leader. You need someone to lead the charge, and then you need to divide up the roles by which the things you need. Do you need sponsorships? Do you need annual giving? Do you need events person? What are the things you are trying to accomplish? Start there before you figure out your structure, okay? What is the goal? Then figure out how to, backfill with the roles that you need to actually make that happen in the first place. But you do need, more than anything, a point person to lead the charge. Of all the answers that you have there, great. Okay, perfect. By the way, I'm going to drop real quickly into the chat. Feel free to grab this, and I will email this out to you. By the way, I will do this as well. But here is a workbook that I have. It's free. Go download it. It's free. Just click on it and download it. It is this entire framework that we talked about today. All 10 pieces are in there, and you just get item by item. You're like, okay, what do I do today about being creative? And just, you can write it out, print it out, write it out. Tell me what you think about it. I love this as well. I'll send that in an email as well too. We can get through a couple more things. I promise we can do that. Nancy asks, our board meetings are every other month. What's a good way to get those certain members who are just put their board binder on the shelf in between meetings? Yeah, it's collecting dust as well. I would send these board members, Nancy, a quick email in between all your board meetings. Give them an update once every other week. Hey, board, just following up with the thing that we talked about here. Here's a quick win. Here's something that our group has done for our organization here. Great. And we had a great time doing this. Give them updates and wins based on what you talked about prior to. And I think you are going to find yourself a little bit more at least engaged, or your board members will be engaged as well as that thing too. Oh, I did not get to any of these questions. Hold on. I'm going to type in my address. Hold on. Do good, better consulting.com. I'm going to put my email address in the chat. Email me. I'll answer your questions. I don't mind. I'm an insomniac. I do this night things as well. So feel free to send me a note. If I didn't get to your questions, I will, I've got them in the hopper. And if you weren't an anonymous attendee, I will take those questions and I will get back to you. I promise. It might not be today, but maybe tomorrow. I promise that. Thank you, by the way, for stopping by. Did you guys learn something? Are you inspired? Does this feel good? Do you feel as if you got something out of this today? I think you guys were amazing. I loved your enthusiasm. I loved your awesomeness. You guys are great. Feel free to reach out to me. I'll send a follow-up email with a couple of things as well. You guys are great. Keep up the awesome work. You guys are doing the things that no one else is doing. I love it. Yes.
Visit GrandStation to see our latest online education offerings in the form of live webinars, interactive workshops, and on-demand learning. GrandStation.com.